I would teach preschool classes and not be doing daycare for 12 hours. I would only teach 3 to 5 year olds for a couple hours every day. And I was like, and I would charge tuition. That way the moms are happy because their kid gets preschool, but they don't have to teach it. And I'm happy because I'm creating, like, possibly could it be a full-time income? And it was like, oh my gosh, this could actually work.
Hey everyone, this episode is brought to you by Start Your Preschool. Hey, wait a sec, that's my book. Inside of it, I share my story, how I started a successful preschool in my home to be able to stay home with my young kids and create a full-time income. I also share my exact step-by-step tips on how you can get your preschool started as well. I actually want to ship you a free copy of this book. To get it, simply go to freepreschoolbook.com or click the link in the description and we'll get you sent one right away. I hope you enjoy this episode. Today I'm going to teach you how to teach online preschool without needing experience, a degree, classroom, or even a license.
So why am I so passionate about helping mothers? Well, 10 years ago, I needed a lot of help and I wished there was someone that was teaching me back then what I know now. So 10 years ago, I became a single mother overnight. I had 3 young kids. They were ages 6, 4, and 2. And all of a sudden, going from being a stay-at-home mom who hadn't had a job in 8 years, who was trying to create, extra income on the side, selling things on eBay or buying stuff at the consignment store and trying to flip it, or getting Pampered Chef products into people's homes. That's what I was trying to do to create income for 8 years as a stay-at-home mom. At most, I usually made maybe $200, $300 a month. Okay, so like not anything to provide a full-time income. Now, it was fine as a stay-at-home mom, but when I became a single mom overnight and had to figure out how to create a full-time income in just 30 days for my 3 kids, then it got real fast. And I was like, okay, how in the world can I do this, right? Well, everybody tells you, oh, you want to stay home with your kids? Just start a daycare. Then you can stay home with them and create a full-time income. But I was thinking about that and I was like, wait a sec, I don't want to work 12 long hour days, like teaching other people's children for 12-hour days and taking care of them and, all ages, the babies all the way up to school age. And oh my gosh, like I'd be exhausted. Number one, like my kids needed me during that time, right? Like, did they really want to share me with all those other kids all day long? And then as soon as the daycare kids leave, well, then I would have to try to figure out, okay, well, now it's time for us to cook dinner and do homework and do all these things that, I would not have energy for. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, that scares the heck out of me to try to think about working for 12-hour days. Like, man, no thank you, right? I didn't want to take care of diapers and babies and all that stuff. Like, I'd had my babies and they were growing up, 6, 4, and 2. So daycare was not an option for me. When people said that, I just like literally cringed and it was like nails on a chalkboard. I just did not want to do daycare. But again, I have 30 days to figure out income. So, okay, well, if you're not going to stay home with your kids and start a daycare, well, then the only other choice is to go get a job and put your kids in daycare. And literally the concept of sticking my children in daycare at the time that they needed me most, I couldn't fathom that either. I'd been home with them for 8 years. How in the world could I picture at this time that they were going through the most upheaval in their life, a divorce, and how in the world could I picture like, okay, bye, I'm going to go work for, 8-hour days, 10-hour days, and you're going to go over there to daycare and I'm not going to see you till dinner time. And then what's going to happen when I pick you up from daycare? Y'all have had like a crazy day in daycare and I've had a crazy day at work. And again, the energy is just depleted, right? Like, that's what I pictured that whole experience would be like, getting a job, putting your kids in daycare. That wasn't an option for me either. But I still only had 30 days to create a full-time income and pay my mortgage. So how the heck was I going to do this? Then I got this wonderful download from God about how, do you remember back when you were teaching co-op preschool, Joy? Do you remember that time? And I was like, okay, yes, co-op preschool. Now, let me explain really quick what co-op preschool is and how this is a little bit different, because I discovered a third option I could do, okay? Let me kind of go there for a second. when I was thinking about the co-op preschool, I remembered, yes, when my daughter, who was 6 at the time of this divorce, when she was going through preschool age, I was trying to find a preschool for her, and I was searching everywhere, right? And I'm like, where can I stick my 4-year-old into a preschool class so she can get ready for kindergarten and make friends? And I looked everywhere, and the only place I could find was daycares who had preschool classes during the day. And I was like, I don't want my kid to go to daycare. I was a full-time stay-at-home mom, right? And like, I don't need daycare. I don't want to stick her in a class and have her go with the daycare kids into preschool class, right? And I was like, well, that's not going to work for me. So what I did instead was, during this time when my oldest daughter was a preschool age, this is of course while I was still a stay-at-home mom, I got together with a couple of my friends and who were in the neighborhood, and we did what we call co-op preschool, which is basically where you have your kids go to everybody's home for 1 week, and that mom teaches those kids preschool for a couple hours. And then the next week, they rotate to a different mom's home, and she teaches the kids for a couple hours. And then the next week, they go to a different mom's, and so on and so forth, right? And so, maybe a Tuesday, Thursday class or something for a couple hours, we would just rotate homes. And now it was free, of course, because we were volunteering our time. But I started to remember something. So, free doesn't equate full-time income, but as this thought came to me, do you remember when you taught co-op preschool, this thought came to me that I remember when we were doing this, and I was loving it. I was loving teaching the kids because I could actually play with them, have fun with them during that time. What happened though was the other moms weren't necessarily super excited about their times teaching preschool. They kind of were getting burnt out. They're like, maybe my kids are sick at home. Joy, can you teach? I got some stuff going on. Joy, can you teach, right? And I started teaching more often because the other moms were loving the time when their kids went somewhere else, but they weren't necessarily loving doing the actual teaching. So I remembered this experience about co-op preschool in the midst of leaving my 8-year marriage. And I remembered, wait a sec, what if I taught preschool the whole time, and because the other moms want their kids to get preschool, be socialized, get ready for kindergarten, have fun, what if they paid me tuition to teach their kids? I would teach preschool classes and not be doing daycare for 12 hours. I would only teach 3 to 5-year-olds for a couple hours every day. And I was like, and I would charge tuition. That way the moms are happy because their kid gets preschool, but they don't have to teach it. And I'm happy because I'm creating, possibly could it be a full-time income? And I was like, oh my gosh, this could actually work. So I got right to work and I tried to figure out all the classes, the schedule, the tuition, the licensing, all these different things. And now this was 10 years ago. Nope, there was no Joy Anderson back then. There was no one teaching how to do this, which is why everybody told me you should start a daycare, because nobody was doing this. And so I looked at all the daycare resources and I said, okay, how can I make this work for my situation, right? Like, how can I change this into preschool world over here and take out all the daycare components that I hate and put in just preschool. And I created my own preschool home business. And now it wasn't without a lot of hard work, and messed up a lot of things, wasted a lot of time and money doing the wrong things at the wrong time, obviously. Because I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to do this, but I figured it out. And after 30 days, I started a home preschool. So I taught preschool classes in my home. Kiddos came over, taught them for a couple hours. I had fun with them while I was teaching with my own children. That was what was beautiful about it, was I had a 6, 4, and 2-year-old. My daughter would go off at elementary to the elementary school, and I would, as soon as she left, I would teach a preschool class. Then I would have lunch for a couple, 30 minutes, and then a different preschool class would come in the afternoon, and then I'd send them on their way, and my daughter would come home from elementary. But meanwhile, my 4 and 2-year-old, I was having a blast with them actually teaching preschool classes. They were getting free preschool education, and it was just amazing. I had enough energy to go throughout the day because I was having fun with my kids. It was like playing with my kids, honestly, and teaching them at the same time while I got to teach other people's kids and still get paid a full-time income. So that is my experience of starting my own home preschool. We grew it from 24 students the first year, and of course it's all based on how you do classes, maybe 4 different classes of 6 kids each, things like that. That's how I started. So they don't all come. It's not like you had 24 kids at one time. From 24 the first year to 40 to 48 to 96, we doubled one year. That's when I got a schoolhouse, a second location, to 120, 140, 150 students. Finally, after 10 years, we actually were able to sell our preschool. And that is my experience for the past 10 years, was doing that preschool. But I'm so passionate about serving mothers because when I got started, I didn't have the Joy Anderson to ask the questions. I didn't have the courses, the books, the training to go through to learn exactly what you're supposed to do step by step to get to that end result. So I realized very quickly within the first year of me doing this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, nobody told me this was an option. Nobody told me I could start a preschool and that would be the third option for me. I just thought I'd have to start a daycare, go get a job, put my kids in daycare. There's a third option. I could start a preschool. And I was like, this is amazing. I didn't have a preschool education. I didn't have a preschool degree. I did not go to, teach in anyone else's preschool. So I literally only had teaching my own children experience, right? And maybe a couple other neighborhood kids. It was not a lot of experience. Didn't have the degree, didn't have the experience. I did not have to get a giant building or anything like that. I didn't have to have a ton of startup capital. Within the first month, we were profitable. So it was amazing. And I was like, everybody needs to know about this. And so after the first year, I started, recording a lot of my thoughts and putting stuff down into systems about, hey, this is what I did through that process. This is how I can help other women and mothers to do this for their families as well, to create income. And sure enough, as I created all these things and started putting it out there on the internet, mothers started picking it up and saying, well, of course this makes sense. What a wonderful opportunity that I can finally create income for my family and stay home. And it was awesome. And I was able to help all these other mothers. So I've helped thousands of mothers create their own successful preschools over the past 10 years. And I just absolutely love helping people with. If I've got it in my head, I have to share it because I know it can help people. So I put together all that stuff and have been helping them over the past 10 years create their own successful preschools, which has been really, really fun. Now, during this process of helping them create, and what I call it, by the way, when we talk here, I call it local preschool, okay? Because now all of a sudden, now we have online preschool as well, which was never a thing for the past 10 years. But now we've been able to create this amazing version of local preschool, but push it online. And so when I reference things, you're going to hear two words that I say a lot, local and online, okay? And so anytime I'm talking about local, I'm talking about a physical location, either that's a home or a rented building, a church, a separate space that you can teach in, or I'm talking online and it's strictly only an online preschool class. And of course, today's topic is how to teach online preschool without needing your degree, experience, classrooms, or even a license, right? And that's what I'm so excited to share with you today. So when I first talk about this concept of teaching online preschool, a lot of women get a bit confused as far as like, okay, why would anybody want that? Because there is so much already out there that's free. There are things that are, if we have Hooked on Phonics, or we have ABC Mouse, or we have all the gazillions of preschool apps that are out there. Like, why would anybody pay? Because those are like $1, or those are $7 a month or something. Why would someone pay me, higher income, $47 a month, $97 a month? Why would anybody pay for that for online preschool when they can get it for free or really cheap? And I would say, here's the deal, guys. That stuff is non-human interaction. That is a computer program trying to, quote, teach the child and offer them educational learning games. Now, I put everything in quotes because I don't firmly believe at all that that is how you should be schooling your child, okay? You need to school children with developmentally appropriate practice. And you might say, I don't even know what the heck that means, Joy. That's okay. It basically just means that what children need at a certain skill level, a certain developmental level, we need to teach them at that level, right? And so just giving them like free access to all these educational learning games actually does not promote healthy brain development. It in fact literally rewires the brain, and not in a good way. It's been proven. So when there are comments about the American Academy of Pediatrics is saying, you know what, we've got all these preschoolers on screens for way too long, right? And they should only be on screens for up to 1 hour of quality screen time per day. Yet, do you think that that's what happens with most people? No, they probably give their kid an iPad or give their kid the remote or show them how to use a mouse on a computer. Usually it's iPads at preschool age, but that's what they're giving those kiddos. And who knows for how many long hours. And they've got these very high interactive, like very stimulating interactive type of games, the noises, the visuals. It's incredibly stimulating. Now, how do you think that helps children who are already like pretty active, and like all of a sudden now we've got these overactive kids, right? Some would even say hyperactive kids, and they're bouncing off the walls as soon as you take the electronics away because they're used to that high energy, right? They're used to that like super active, like give me everything, or I don't know how to interact with the world anymore. I don't know how to interact with my siblings, and I'm just like fighting with everybody because I went from like all consuming and solo into like, oh wait, I gotta navigate the world, okay? So when I say that online preschool is not that, I 100% mean that. We are not that. The people who are fine with that, that's cool. They're not our target market, right? Our target market is people who actually are like, that's not going to work for my kid. I don't want that for my kid. I want my kid to actually be around humans, right? To learn from an actual preschool teacher, as well as to learn from, to interact and socialize with real preschool friends, right? Real life friends. And none of these apps, none of these learning games do that. They don't offer that because they can't do that for millions of people, right? And they know if I stick a game out there, I can do it for millions of people. So that's not what we're coming at with this concept. With teaching online preschool, what we're trying to do is we're trying to show that every mother can teach online preschool if they follow 3 things. Are you ready for this? The 3 things, as long as these mothers follow these 3 things, then they can find success with teaching online preschool. So it takes away, you don't need the degree, you don't need the experience, you don't need a classroom, you don't need a license, and it levels the playing field. And I'm literally telling you right now, after helping thousands of women start their local preschools without degrees, experience, locations like rented buildings, or licenses. Guys, I've been there, done that. I know how to help other people do that. And I'm leveling the playing field saying, as long as a mother has these 3 things, then she can create a successful online preschool. Okay, you don't have to have both. You can do one or the other, or you can have both, online, local, whatever. But let's focus now on online. So with that, what she needs, number 1, she has to be loving to children. No brainer, right? If you're not loving to children, just hop off of this little interview and training here. Of course you are, of course. We're mothers, that's why we're here, okay? You have to be loving to children. Number 2, committed to learning best teaching practice. That means learning about developmentally appropriate practice. That means learning about what curriculum and activities would be appropriate to teach online. But guess what, guys? Learning can be taught. Yes, that's right. You do not have to go to college, because guess what? They're not teaching how to teach online preschool in college right now, right? No, they're not. Every college program teaches, well, here is how you work in a daycare, because that's the programs that are available for their people when they leave college. It's how to work in a daycare with preschool age kids, okay? Completely different model. So no, you don't need the degree, but you do have to learn. But guess what? All the training is out there to learn, and I can teach you where to find that training, okay? So committed to learning the best teaching practice so that you can school the children correctly, right? Of course. And finally, number 3, following everything I say and not giving up. All right. So if you just go out there trying to do this on your own, I guarantee you're going to be struggling. It's going to be difficult. You will waste time. You will waste money. You will likely not be successful in the end. The reason I say this is because the more roadblocks that you encounter, the more chances there are for you to fail. Okay. Now I take the word fail completely out of the equation, and I say, the more roadblocks there are that come up, you have the opportunity to learn, okay, to overcome. But how many times do you guys want to overcome things, right? Like, we have a limit in our capacity on how much we can actually do that. So my suggestion is not like, yes, let's overcome everything. Let's not go there. My suggestion is actually to say, you know what? Let's back this up a second. And let's say, hey, if there is a path over there with no roadblocks, or, every now and then just a little thing I gotta, it's a little bit harder, but there's a specific, specific path, a specific way, step by step, how to do that thing. I want that. Like, wouldn't you rather have that than this thing over there with like a bunch of hurdles and obstacles and other things you have to like overcome because you're doing it on your own? But over there, it's like a clear path and there's cheerleaders on all the sides, right? That's what I'd prefer, yeah? Because that gets you to the finish line and you get the results afterward. That is my goal. So I'm over there teaching you how to do it step by step so that you don't have all this squirrely having to overcome all these roadblocks and hurdles. Let's put you on the clear path, the cheerleaders on the path, and we'll get you there. So that's my explanation about how this is available for any mother who wants to create an income from home, stay home with her kids, and spend more quality time with them, right? Absolutely.
If you're loving these videos, would you do me a quick favor? Click the subscribe button and don't forget to click the bell to be notified every time a new video drops. Also, be sure to comment, like, and share these videos. My mission is to share this message with as many women as possible, and you can help us with that as well. Thanks, and I hope you enjoy the video.